Welcome to the second part of Chapter 6 of the skeletal system. Due to technical difficulties, I kind of got cut off there. Anyway, when I left you, we were talking about different types of joints. And when you look at, you will see that joints are where bones come together and they move. We talked about how some are very fibrous and held together, like the joints in your head. So those are called sutures. And then you have some with cartilage in them, which are the ones between your vertebrae. Then you have connective fibers holding them together with great movement, and these are called synovial joints. As I talked about, there's all sorts of parts of a synovial joint. I just want you to realize they are complicated with all these bits without going into all the detail on them. Then we talked about types of joints is what we're trying to get to. Now, if you've ever done a little dancing, that will help you with the types of joints. So quite often when you start, you're sitting there and you do a little finger dance. Little finger dance, finger dance, finger dance. This is, and then sometimes it moves to your wrist dance. This is your condylar movement. Then you go to a gliding movement, which is your big movement in your wrist. And then sometimes you might get to a single ladies. So in a single ladies, you're doing the rotate, rotate, rotate. So this is a pivot joint. Pivot, 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 pivot. And then you might go and you might raise the roof. And in the process of raising the roof, you've got your hinge joint because your elbow is a hinge. Beautiful for extension and flexion. Then if you really get into it, you might be doing some swimming. And swimming, you are moving your ball and socket joint in your hips and shoulders. All types of movement, very good movement. And then you can go, hey, good job. And your thumb is where your saddle joint is. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Remember your joints. So to look at them here are the movement of your joints to give you the different memories. Okay, good. And please make sure you're aware of them. It might be good to do a summary table because you know how much I love my summary tables. Good. Now another type is movement because you need to be aware of the movement. So you've got flexion. Flexion is when you are decreasing the angle. So I can flex my bicep here. Extension is the opposite one where you are straightening it. And then you can have hyperextension where you go beyond your movement. So if you hyperextend your neck, you've gone beyond the normal range. Then you've got abduction, which means you're taking away, and adduction, which is coming towards it. Then supination, think of you're holding soup in your hand, so that's palms up. Pronation, you're like a basketball player, pro basketball player doing down. Circumduction, you are moving around. And then you got rotation when you do the single ladies. Okay? Good. So there's also inversion when the joints move medial away. So if you got pigeon-toed, your inversion, exversion, you're putting them laterally. When you point your toes, you got plantar flexion. So plantar and point. Dorsal is when you don't point your toes, you flex it. Then you've got opposition when the thumb crawls across your palm, and reposition when it's back to the anatomical position. Did we talk about the anatomical position? You can't really see me here. In anatomical position, you don't want your bones crossed, so that's why you're normally sat kind of out there with your hands up. Then you've got opposition, reposition, elevation, depression. Protraction is when you go and chair, and then retraction, pros out, rears back. I'll put a little song and dance up for you. When it comes to arthritis, don't worry about it. Just realize it's a joint disease. And that is the end of this chapter, chapter 6. Thank you.